Hello, and welcome back to the All Out Soccer Podcast. Myself, Jeremy Goldstein, and my co-host, Joseph McBride, we're two football fans talking about soccer. We focus on a fusion of the MLS, the U.S. men's and women's soccer teams, and the cool down from the 2026 World Cup. This is normally when I ask my co-host, Joseph McBride, how he's doing, but he's on his extended post-World Cup holiday, gallivanting the world, Canada, England, the like. So I thought it would be good to hop on here, do a little MLS roundup, as the league is coming thick and fast. The Leagues Cup obviously just finished. Not going to get into that today. Each MLS and Liga MX side has played their round of games. The top four from each remain. Obviously, Seattle Sounders, the reigning champions, will not be competing for the titles. They are in absolute free fall, both in the MLS and Leagues Cup. We're just going to focus on the MLS today, and I want to highlight three teams. The hottest team in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia Union. The hottest team in the Western Conference, the Houston Dynamo. And the league's biggest pariah, Inter Miami, who lost a 4-1 showdown against Nashville in a first versus second place showdown in the Eastern Conference. But we're going to start with the red-hot Philadelphia Union. 4-4 wins in the MLS under their new interim coach. The Philadelphia Union had one win prior to this little stretch, and now they are the hottest team in the league. Ryan Richter started the year as the coach of the Philadelphia Union 2 side, coaching none other than Cavan Sullivan, who is now in both are very, very key in the first team. So I was at this game last night at Yankee Stadium. Thank you to NYCFC. Obviously, wonderful stadium they get to play in before they move to Queens. Not really a soccer stadium. Some issues with the turf, but the team makes it work the best as they can. Cavan Sullivan, 2 assists in a 3-2 comeback win. NYCFC benefited from 2 first-half penalties, Hetzi in both of them. Bini Traore, big signing, was at Basel. Before that was at Sheffield United. He scored the first. Luigi Henry, 21-year-old from Palmeiras they signed. He scored the second penalty. 2-0 at halftime. Philadelphia looked robust. Then the second half. Danny Jean-Jacques, Haitian international, he scored a goal off a free kick that Mr. Sullivan flicked on. Bruno Damiani, who I knew was going to have to be a big player this year following the just wave of Philadelphia exits this offseason. He scored the first in transition where Sullivan could have had it himself. He made his big overlapping run on the right side. He slotted through to the Uruguayan striker who made it 2-2, and then Damiani this time got the assist from Quinn Sullivan, who didn't start, and made it 3-2 Philadelphia. Comeback, cementing just a wonderful comeback win. And I'm just going to read the second half stats. Even though Union only had 52% possession, they had 2.01 XG to just 0.32 for New York City FC. They had 12 shots to 4. Matt Freese was clearly not unhappy with his defense when I spoke to him post-game. Wouldn't talk about the Sullivans, even though he does know them dating back to his time in Philadelphia. Just a wonderfully captivating performance. Sullivan starts nominally on the right in what looks like a 4-4-2, but he's really a central midfielder who just kind of plays everywhere. Very much in the Andres Iniesta role, I must say. My immediate comp for him is Kobe Mainu, but 6 shots for 0.28 XG, 2 assists, 10 out of 15 passes completed in the opposition half. He had 18 carries, 4 of which were progressive, for 111.7 meters. He won 3 tackles, all 3 of his attempts, won 6 out of his 10 duels. On the season, his 3.1 shots ranked in the 95th percentile among MLS midfielders. He's 99th percentile for MLS midfielders in successful dribbles per 90. That's 2.32. And his 4.24 touches in the opposition box are in the 89th percentile. And a shot from Tom Harris of The Athletic, wrote a great feature on Mr. Sullivan recently. His rate of 5.1 take-ons per 90 minutes ranks 7th amongst MLS players this season. What a wonderful player. He was once the prince who was promised, and now he's the prince who is delivering. Philadelphia is still in 13th place in the Eastern Conference. It's a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. This is the reigning Supporter Shield winners. Obviously, some of the old faces are gone, though Kai Wagner has come back after his brief stint at Birmingham City. Daniel Gazdag is long gone. Gutman is gone. The team has obviously undergone a major makeover. But if Sullivan's here for this year, he's here for the next year, and then he's gone, obviously, to Manchester City when he's 18, I think they have a legitimate shot of making the playoffs this year, just because it's 4 wins and 4. They play Cincinnati next away. There is enough time left in the season, I think. I mean, they have no Leagues Cups campaigns. They have no money on other commitments. They played 19 so far. Obviously, it's going to be a ton of MLS action in the next 2 months with the season ruined by the World Cup. But if Sullivan continues playing, and the only fear is just like with Mainu, you're playing a child in midfield. They're not always great at some off-the-ball things, and they also have a manager who's never coached at the highest level. There's going to be some issues tactically against better teams. I mean, this NYCFC team, very fun, but is an absolute free fall right now by no fault of their own. If you look at the injury list for NYCFC, it's just an absolute wasteland. Obviously, no Nicolas Fernandez. He missed this game through yellow card accumulation. Aiden O'Neill is out. Kai Truin is out. Alonso Martinez, of course, out with the long-term injury. Maxi Morales is out. This team is kind of finding its way amid the injury crisis. Traore, who's a striker, had to play on the left. I think Philadelphia is an absolute sleeping giant. Before I get into Houston, let's talk about our friends Inter Miami. First loss in 5 MLS games since the World Cup break. Lionel Messi, his first MLS start, is following Argentina's loss to España in the 2026 World Cup final. Miami's also riding the injury bug. No Herman Berterame, no Matteo Silvetti, no Mikael, the defender, no Tadeo Allende. On the road against Nashville, a team in place Miami very, very may have to play in order to defend their MLS title. Nashville's been a thorn in Miami's side for a few years now, with obviously Big Sam Surge and Hani Mukhtar up front. Nashville got off to an early 1-0 start, thanks to a goal from Andy Najar, the fullback, made a bombarding run. Messi then missed a penalty, kind of came off a BS Luis Suarez dive. Suarez, though, has been in fine form, especially with Messi absent since the World Cup break. I'm sure the rest did the 108-year-old Suarez. He's 39. Well, Sergio Reguilon looked to have scored the rebound, but he was judged to have gone a little early. Telasco Segovia, who looked like Miami's best player in the first half, he got one back right before halftime to make it 1-1. Of course, Miami had to go into the second half without Facundo Mora. The defender went down with an injury. In stepped old friend Maxi Falcone, a bit of a David Luiz figure, someone who does have his footballing capability. He is a good distributor of the ball, but he has the absolute knucklehead gene. And sure enough, he came on after the injury. He was completely out of position on Hani Mukhtar. When Hani Mukhtar was slipped in the 50th minute, he was barking orders at his defense, actually, to get in position. And it's ironic he wasn't doing the assignment himself. This Miami backline's been a work in progress this year. I think the team is much better with Yannick Bright and, of course, Casemiro in midfield, but it's just this is the defensive line. Frey's there. He's not the biggest guy. Mira's been hurt. Lujan's newish. Reguilon is newish. Noah Allen's a good player. He's in and out of the team. David Ayala, who came in from Portland this offseason, he can't get any minutes. Dane St. Clair's on the bench, which means Rocco Rios Novo, the MLS Cup winner last year, was inserted. He was not at fault for the third goal. That was a wonderful, sexy Sam Surge back heel finish coming from Christian Espinoza, who's just been an absolute lightning rod when healthy for Nashville. But Rios Novo had a big slip for the fourth goal, allowing Hani Mukhtar clean through. He got his second of the game. Questions about Miami's goalkeeping, obviously a recurring theme the last 3-4 years since Messi has come over to the MLS. Miami are now 5 points behind Nashville in the MLS table. I don't think they will be able to catch them by the end of the season, though there's a lot of game left. I just think Nashville look very robust under BJ Callahan. I think if you're Messi in Miami, you're happy with this. Messi, mind you, 1.55 XG didn't score. Unbelievable. He led a lot of chances, and those will fall for him. He's the greatest player in the history of anything. But again, Miami, 5 points back. It looks like they're going to be second. If you told them they finished second, I think they'd be perfectly happy with that. That means they only need to go on the road in the Eastern Conference Finals. They did that last season, made the MLS Cup, and they were the 3 seed. They had to go on the road in the second and third rounds. I think if they fall lower than that and they're in trouble, though I wouldn't say the East is loaded per se with top teams. I mean, there are some good teams in the East. Chicago, obviously, a team that's playing really well now with Mr. Hubert Lewandowski. up front. Cincinnati aren't the team of old. New England are starting to fall off after a hot start. NYCFC just don't have the depth. Michael Bradley's Red Bulls looked fun to start the season, but they are kind of falling off a cliff recently. In Orlando, it's too little too late for Antoine Griezmann, and that little brief honeymoon at the start of the season look at the start of his tenure here now looks faded. Philadelphia, but they're going to be lucky just to get in. They're only on 19 points. They'll definitely at least get into the qualification playoffs, but let's see if they do any better than that. So I still think this is Inter Miami's conference to lose. That hopefully we get a showdown against them against Nashville in the Eastern Conference Finals, but we will see. Moving out west, the Houston Dynamo, second place in the West. I don't know if I had them in my top 4 coming into the season in the West, but I certainly liked them. I liked the signings. I liked Guilherme, the signing from Palmeiras. I was right about that one. Pretty happy with myself. Mateus Borges returning to the MLS. Jack McGillen was kind of like a new signing because he missed most of last season with an injury. Duncan McGuire is now in the mix. Hector Herrera is back. Some fun. Jonathan Bond, reliable player in goal. Dwayne Holmes, squad player. Sam Vine, squad player. It's a fun, interesting team. Marcel Sarachi hasn't been playing. He's the Uruguayan. But just looking at this team so far, just looking at the result against Houston, it was 1-0 over the Galaxy thanks to Guilherme first half penalty. I thought they were dominant. I mean, they had 61% possession. They had most of the chances. This Galaxy team is really underwhelming. Thiago Furuhashi made his first MLS start for them up front. Irving Lozano came off the bench. They're still waiting for Sergi Roberto, the ex-Barcelona, turned to Como midfielder to replace their own injured Barcelona midfielder, Riqui Puig. Guilherme, if you're not paying attention, is legitimately one of the best players in the MLS. From Santos, not from Palmeiras. 12 goals and 5 assists. He also has the best dribble numbers in the league. He has like 2.7 or 2.8 per game. He also leads his side in interceptions per match. So, he's 31. And someone coming from the Brazilian league, you wouldn't profile as an all-action player, but he is legitimately putting in a shift on the defensive side of the field. Jack McGlynn leads the team in almost all creative numbers in terms of passing, creative actions, key passes, and whatnot. Really, really exciting player. Someone I'd like to see back in the U.S. men's national team picture now that he's fully fit. Houston are up to second in the West. Vancouver were really, really struggled in the Leagues Cup, like you wouldn't believe. Thomas Muller scored a direct free kick over the weekend. Houston are 2 points behind them. LAFC have just really kind of deteriorated over the second half of the season, though they did come back from the World Cup with 3 wins. They did lose over the weekend. They're in third at 34. San Jose are in fourth at 33. They're falling after their early form to start the season. And there's teams that are unconvincing like Dallas and St. Louis behind them. And then Salt Lake, who've been awful recently, just sold Xavier Gozo to Crystal Palace. That's a shame. Seattle have lost 100 million games in a row. West, I still think it's going to go through Vancouver and LA, but Houston to me now is the third team in the Western Conference. All right, that's going to wrap up this week's show. We're going to be back with Joe next week. We're going to get really, really diving into the MLS in a serious action. Obviously, then we're going to have the September U.S. men's national team training camp, where we hope we're going to see Mr. Cavan Sullivan with the side. But until then, that's it for me. That just about wraps it up for this week's All Out Soccer podcast. He has not been Joe McBride, but I've been Jeremy Goldstein. We hope you can join us again on the next episode. Or, as Thomas Muller would say, Auf Wiedersehen. See ya.